Maybe this will turn it on for us regardless. Dude, wait a minute. Hold up. This is crazy. Bring this back as a 5/5. But it happens at the beginning of combat, so it didn't put all the counters across. But I'm getting I'm getting 2 more combats because of fear of missing out. This guy just got exploded, dude. What? Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be playing one of my most favorite decks on the ladder. We are playing the Rakdos Reanimate deck. This is a bit different than my rotation one. It's still under that title. This is what I did play for that video if you saw it previously. But we added a couple cards, being the Visage right now. But if you don't know what this deck is, it revolves around Zombify primarily and using cards to put our big stuff into the graveyard and using the biggest card that we have, weirdly not the biggest on its own, but what it does is so good, being Ardyn. It gives our demons we control menace, lifelink, and haste, and then at the beginning of combat on our turn, exile up to 1 target creature card from a graveyard. It can be our opponent's as well. If you exile the card this way, create a token that's a copy, except it's a 5/5 black demon, so it does get the menace, lifelink, and haste. And we have a lot of large creatures to go along with that. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and dive into games and let it show itself off that way, because there's a lot of little synergies in this deck that are hard to explain within a reasonable amount of time. So with that said, let's go game. Opponent is first, double tap land, but 2 torches, Ardyn. It's all pretty good. Man, being on the draw here is definitely a bit tough. Let's play this. All right, we can keep Bitter Triumph. That actually works. Doesn't really matter how large that gets because we can discard this. Oh. I think they have a protection spell here. Guess we go here. Then that. Next. They have something, of course. I kind of just want to see if they tap out. I believe they probably have a Snakeskin Veil, and there's not really a lot I can do about that. They put a Bristly Bill in the stack without tapping their mana. We can shoot one of these, but they play in land, sure. Uh-huh. Maybe I should have attempted to torch one. Let's see if they tap out. Might play something a little bit more important. Yeah, and I would argue that's a bit more important. So what we do here is we actually do it a bit backwards. We torch that. And then we play our tap land and we Bitter Triumph here. I think. Yeah, I mean. Ardyn here. So we can always bring back one of their creatures. Do remember that. And the Chocobo will come in as a 4/4. It's a bit weird because you would think other things would happen. Now we could get rid of that, but just can we though? I just don't think we can wait, to be honest. Like, obviously I could go for torch here, but I'm doing this. Here. Comes back at the 5/5 with menace, lifelink, and haste. So we weirdly hold on this guy, and the reason why is because this is basically 10 life in this situation. Oh, am I just dead regardless? We're in theory at 23. This does come in untapped. I just don't know if it matters. Because it's going to go 8-16. They had to put a counter on it first. Yeah. Oh, they do have the counter. So 5, 10, 20. Again, it still works out for us, I think. It's hexproof. I believe this works for us. Where we don't just die. Yeah, I thought so. Now we have to essentially do the same thing. My Tifa lock armor. We just hold. Because now Chocobo can attack us, right? But we can block here. And if they just attack with this, then I obviously block with Tifa, and then we have to figure something out. So if I torch the Chocobo, it's exiled, and then Ardyn doesn't have anything to actually... doesn't have anything to work with. At the beginning of combat, so we don't even get to declare this as an attacker in time. Weird. I will say getting to play a swamp here with Tifa is kind of funny, because then it'll go to 10. I think it has its abilities, yeah. Pretty dope thing to happen. Because you gotta remember, this only has lifelink. This only has lifelink whenever Ardyn's in play. Sure. They should attack me with the 6/7. They don't. Okay. Interesting. There's no land on top. We know that, right? We could sacrifice this. Yeah, okay, so... yes, I would like to tap that for a colorless, please. The worst land possible because it's considered a rainbow land is trying to make me hold up. I didn't play land first. I'm so stupid. I meant to make this 10 and attack with it. That's what I meant to do. Sure, because we can just use it as a draw. Remember, that's just a scry, right? We only get to scry one with that. When a land enters double power, sure. Here's land, 10. Beer. Oh man, it's 16, so they don't really have to block. Here's this. Remember, if they double block here, whatever they block and kill this with, we get the advantage of like bringing one of these back the following turn. But 10 life with a fear being able to block here and this being able to bring this up is obviously important. Thankfully, none of these have trample. Double the power of target creature you control. Land war elves. And they miss a land on top again. Wow. We escaped that game. I think that turn they didn't attack with that 6/7 cost them this game. Almost. Like our hand's awesome. Almost. I'll try, weirdly enough. I know this hand looks really bad, but it's one bitter triumph away. I mean, that goes in the yard, obviously. No, I don't mean to click myself. Okay. Interesting. Here. We take the land. Worst case, I just kind of cast this, right? Then I do my thing. Ooh, voice pretty good. Obviously not doing anything about that. Sure. I mean, I'll take my 5-ish, if not more, from like a land Sephiroth play, right? Ooh. Are we good? Oh, we are. Yeah, I'm good. Again, I'll take the damage from all this. That's for sure. No shelter, no nothing. Can't block, and this isn't a tap, so I can't think of a card that they could play here. I'm not even risking it. Remember when Cling to Dust used to be in standard, by the way? What a time that was. Now we got a pretty good card at dominating the battlefield, right? Like attack, just shooting things left and right. Good card. Sick card. The thing is, it dies to me swinging here. At the beginning of your end step, if a non-land permanent is put in your graveyard or warp this turn, put a 2/2 colorless robot token. I mean, I might as well prevent damage from happening, even if they make the robot, right? Whenever one, oh yeah, I guess they get a draw. That's why they attack. That makes way more sense to me. We go to combat. We attack. We just shoot this thing out of the way. Surveil. Really, do I keep? Because I'm gonna put an extra land into play this turn. So I have 5, 6. So 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're a little bit short. I'll just bend that then. I mean, worst case, we do that, right? All right. Thankfully, we did. Because we're looking for obviously a removal spell, especially with 2 of these in hand, and I do have a pool. I can pull these out, right? Because put 2 target creature cards from a single graveyard into the battlefield under control, then gain haste, sacrifice them at the beginning of next end step, right? So now if I can get one of these online, we're obviously looking really, really good. Honestly, do I just play this? This also has lifelink, right? I like to do this. This also exiles them, right? No, it doesn't. Okay. Attack. I should just chip them for as much as I can, right? They'll make a treasure, and then they technically can crew this up if they'd like. As you'll get to see here, but we get to gain some life and threaten 9, 10, 11, 12 damage here. Using all their mana to bring that up. Maybe. Which then takes their treasure away, but they did keep on top, I believe. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We just naturally get to hit this, which is great. Not many times in my life did I think I was going to just cast an Ardyn this turn. Yeah. Make a 2/2 robot. My mobilizers go away. They just get sacked. Unfortunately, it doesn't finality counter them like I thought it was going to, which is kind of a bummer because that means like Raise the Past can bring them all back. But they don't really have the mana for that. Now they have to do blocks, but this attacks and shoots them for lethal here, by the way. Uh-huh. I just want to do this because I can. Here. And then we send this upstairs. Just hard casting this card is just quite funny to me. All right. We can definitely keep this, I think. Conduit is okay. We have 2 torches and a fear and everything, so we're good. I'm gonna play a mountain first, just in case it's like obviously an aggro deck, because I want to be able to interact. So it's blue-black, I would assume. I'm gonna be mana efficient here and pop this, because I might just go for a fear. On Zombify, we need land here. Alright, we really need land here. Sweet. That's actually a really good land in that spot. Just because we can hopefully help ourselves find another land. This does kind of suck where they're obviously going, oh, no. Oh! One can only hope. I'm going to keep this land, and I know that seems weird, but the idea, right, is with Valgavoth's Faithful, we can go Zombify. If they counter it, then we can go Faithful, pop it, and then bring back Valgavoth regardless of what they do. Tap land here, sure. Sure. Yeah, which obviously you can tell they're holding priority for. Here. Go to combat. This is oh, we see the flash of the hand. They do nothing. Let's force them to have a counter spell. Again, they have to have two essentially, right? Because we're gonna go Valgavoth's Faithful and pop. Yeah, so there's one. Siren number 3. Sure. Bitter Triumph. Oh, they get rid of it. And they're getting rid of these maps, which means Valgavoth has less of a chance of getting removed here. Alright, opponent. We're going to do this. And we're going to reanimate this Valgavoth. Then I'll pass. Have him. Because the reason we don't do anything here is because they can play a thing that makes me sack a creature. It used to be Shieldred's Edict, but that card is now rotated. But yeah, I mean, we're looking good. We need like Void Rend back in this format. They've printed so many cards with like Ward and stuff that it makes it just so tough. We don't have a land, so we can do this actually. I have 2 mana to pay for another one of these. 3 steps ahead? Okay. I now have 3 steps ahead. This is my card now. I think I can cast it for about anything, right? And I only get to do it on my turn, so I might as well do this. Okay. I get it. Also, not blocking there makes sense. It doesn't seem like it does, but 100% does because they needed more permanence for Valgavoth. Now they just have to block it. Sure. Combat. Here. Uh-huh. I'm not going to overcommit to this board because one of the things I am slightly afraid of is the fact that they could randomly play Deadly Cover-Up, right? And they could get rid of our whole board. So we definitely want to go like Light Shatter and to hit them pretty hard. Don't really need that right now. If I hit them super hard. I probably could have just played it and threatened lethal, but they had 3 mana. Most likely they have some form of removal. It shouldn't be a deck playing Deadly Cover-Up, but yeah. Nice play, opponent. Sick play. That's honestly, I'm so proud of you, but I don't think it matters. It's what a sick play from them. Oh boy. We're just gonna end the game here. What a dope play from them. That was really sick, honestly. I haven't seen anybody do that play in a really long time or anything similar to that, but what a way to do that. And just seems solid to me. Fire Taplin. Got Torches and Bitter Triumph ready to go. Is this going to be a trend today, Arena? Where I like win a match and then have to play against like VV Cauldron combo every time? Well, I can't really beat a VV that easily. Because obviously I need to be able to target my cards in my graveyard. Oh, it's just Sky Control. Never mind. That's a little bit different. Still a really hard matchup. But at least a bit more stomachable, you know? Where to here? Wait. In turn. Just Sky is going to be hard too, though. They just counter like our important spells if we can't put enough pressure on the ground. Sure. I like map tokens as much as the next guy. A land would be great here because we can go warp this. Obviously, they can 3 steps that counter. They might even play the thing that absorbs these. Authority, sure. This one. Oh, well, that auto resolved. Four. That's 5. You need a land. Probably could have went for this instead, but it's gonna be a tough one, regardless. Go here. Sure, they're getting life. The life part matters like a little, but it doesn't. I guess Torch can just go. In the Bitter Triumph. Here. Would you like to respawn now? Interesting, they didn't. Let's take a look. Sure. Here. I don't care if they know about it. Them knowing about it actually makes the game plan harder for them. Now it's not like lightning helixable, right? Now their counter spells have to be true. Fear missing out also gets to attack them next turn for 6 before I ever zombify anything. Don't really have much in there right now, but that's not the point, right? It really helps me if I get things countered along that path. Wish I would have got almost another counter on this, honestly. That land was great, but if that would have hit twice, a 4-power creature attacking over and over is pretty solid. Again, Helix can't answer this. They have to use a Get Lost or a board wipe, which isn't necessarily that great, right? Yeah, we're not even gonna do anything crazy. We're just gonna try to go to combat here, force them to interact. Again, this is 6 free damage here. Combat. And then instead of Zombify, I'm going to go for this guy. Because whenever this leaves the battlefield, draw a card, then put a permanent card with mana value less than the number of lands we control. If it goes to their turn, unless of course it's Ultima. If it goes their turn and they Day of Judgment, right? This goes away, and then I get to put something like his Overlord in play. I could go for Carnosaur, but I feel like it's a little bit worse. But if they counter this, then I have a decently good Zombify target. Yeah, okay. Oh boy. There will be a point in this game which I can't, like, stick around anymore. If they get there, obviously. I know if they're the recent version, they're on like 4 No More Lives and stuff, like 3 steps ahead. Overlord coming up's a little bit tough, a little. Just because, obviously, board wipe now here seems almost impossible not to commit to the board, right? Eco and a Get Lost? Okay. Sweet. Here. Solid. We don't actually want that Bitter Triumph on top. Here. There. Just like that, our one fear of missing out that they haven't moved. No rest, no mercy, no matter what. that's pretty funny. Now we get to start this clock. I guess of all these cards, what I would want to bring back, I guess the Visage is probably the best. Because Vagavoth's obviously not that dominant in this matchup as it could be in others. Because again, Vagavoth only works on our turn, so if they use a counter spell, for example. Also, Vagavoth in the graveyard is just a better zombified target than that, I guess. That should be my argument. Not the fact that I want to put it in my hand and cast it. It's just most of the time, if this card goes on the stack, they're not letting it resolve, right? Opponent. A flash card could happen. Yeah, I'm bringing this up. Go to combat here. You can bring up their land, but I can Bitter Triumph it. Targeting my land. Because obviously they want to kill this. But then if I can hit them for 2 twice, right? It's just great. I can't counter both of these. Yeah, bro. If I had a torch, I could fully counter this, but I just can't. That's tough. We just got Revelations, a good blowout there. Do I want to discard a card to draw? I guess I want to try to draw a land. Well, I missed a land. Let's play the Fear back out. Obviously, it's tapped, but still in the same boat, though. Yeah, I think that just got Revelation is going to do it. If I had a torch, though, I know what I got rid of, too. But if I had a torch, I could have sacrificed this and then shot my Restless Vent, and that would have countered the Revelation, which would have been a significantly better result of what happened that turn. But I think that's just going to be enough. If there's like a Sheikah or something here, I'm moving on. Honestly, I think we can just confirm this game's over, right? So I'll just move on. It's okay. Going first here. Pretty good. Nice. I do think I weirdly want to hold off on this one. Just because of how much mana I have, I think I'd much rather surveil later when it might matter a bit more. Everything screams that I should shoot that. And then I guess I can surveil now, right? I'll need that. Like, I might need that, but like I also need a spell to put in my graveyard, right? Sure, I guess. Torch. I thought it might be the land to get rid of, but unfortunately didn't make that call. Because if I miss, I played 23 lands, so very possible we airball on a land if I discard the land, right? 3, sure. I didn't really care about removing this all too much, just because at worst case I take like 3 damage, maybe 4, I guess. We have a Bitter Triumph. We got rid of a torch, which makes this pumping this a little bit interesting. But maybe they're just like committing to the damage, right? Could be a Spell Pierce too. This is Zombify, so now we just need to find a good spell. Here. Could be a flood maw, I guess. Interesting. Interesting scenario I find myself in. Also, it could be a snakeskin veil, right? So, we'll see. Needing a good threat. Sure. Correct. Discard, I guess? No. Yes. You just have to. Do I have a random thing I can zombify? I guess so. Maybe this will turn it on for us regardless. What a dude, wait a minute. Hold up. This is crazy. Bring this back as a 5/5. But it happens at the beginning of combat, so it didn't put all the counters across. But I'm getting I'm getting 2 more combats because of fear of missing out. This guy just got exploded, dude. What? So what's gonna happen here is fear of missing out is gonna trigger twice. We're gonna untap 1 and untap this. And then we'll just wait a combat. We won't even attack with them. Because it's gonna put a counter across everything. And then we'll get a 3rd combat doing it again. So this was going to put 5 counters and then 10 counters, and we were going to smoke them. Holy cow. The name Dark Soul, that means, I'm assuming it's referring to the game, right? And if that's the case, they're Vivi combo. The only thing that makes sense. I'll keep the Zombify, obviously. All right, feels similar. They have to kind of commit, right? So we just wait. Yeah, so they have to kind of commit here. Discard a card. I understand this is more damage, but actually, I guess answering that, because this card's fine by itself. Let's get rid of that Overlord. I know I can play it, but I can also Carnosaur this, right? Or I could Torch the Tower it, I guess. I have 2 removal spells. I should just wait. Their entire plan is to make me explode, right? I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna take another 1. This card is very good. Do not get it twisted. That card is insanely good. Please go away. But now we just need to hit a land to put in this Carnosaur. We do have double Hello? Here. Unfortunately, I'm going to take damage, but if I didn't, that card was going to get out of hand, of course. Come on, bro. I've had so many lands in so many games. Not like this. Wild run this. Oh. That was just dead. Yep. 12 cards deep. My opponent who plays less lands than me. Yeah. Uh-huh. Wow. Awesome game. They even had lethal and they missed it. It's just, of course. Of course. My bad. My bad, Arena. Sure, dude. Awesome. All right. Let's keep here. I have the same amount of lands as last game. I wonder if that means I'll never hit another land in my life. Oh, already? Who would have thought? Oh, now I'm going to get flooded with lands. That's like the Arena Classic, bro. Miss lands and then immediately get flooded. Thankfully, we have 2 surveillance we get to play. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Am I supposed to, like... Welcome to the Arena Classic, dude. The game you miss lands, you'll immediately hit them in the next one. We're popping that. For sure. I could definitely torch this, but I want them to use their map. They might also play something a bit better, which they did immediately. Here. They could have a Spell Pierce, but getting rid of Bristol Bill is definitely the play. But thankfully, with the lands, I have Light Shatter, discard 2 lands, probably, because I'll draw a 3rd one here. Another land. Oh, a Reanimate piece. That's pretty sweet, actually. I'm on full scale crash out, you know? Because now, like, what do I do? Do I just Overlord here? Guess so. Get some actual stuff in there. There's 2 more lands to be had. Let's play here. Now they kind of got to answer this, right? They don't have to, because there's not anything impressive in there. But what we can do is sack this, bring back like a full-scale Overlord, and then use Rakdos Joins Up to hopefully hit something after all that, right? All right, fair enough. Map again. I have a Breeding Pool. Botanical Sanctum, good play. That obviously the tap line's a little bit better to have. Basically get to do the same thing though. We're gonna zombify out this Overlord, of course. Try to get something a little more impressive in there, and the Carnosaur's in there. So we'll take Visage, because Carnosaur can obviously do some cool stuff. We also get to attack first. They just concede. Okay, interesting. Weird. Opponent goes first. We get to keep here, obviously. Hopefully we just hit our lands. And hopefully... I've talked so much about how it's been nice that in Best of 1, VV doesn't show up that often. And then... every time I win like a game or 2, VV shows up to just kick me in the teeth. So that's pretty sweet. Oh, an instant resolve. Nice. There's a Get Lost here, as we can see on the pause. Maybe, I guess. Oh, Seam Rip, sure. That makes sense. If I get a Light Shatter here, that'd be pretty cool. Second Zombify to barrel, which is nice. There's a pause here. So they do have a Get Lost, I think, because it can technically blow up. They're in Seam Rip. Technically, you can do that. Here. Now they're obviously going to have counter magic, so I'm just going to warp my Visage, which they might just let go. I just really wanted it to play an additional land. I also get to draw an extra card here. This does enter tapped off of the Visage, so we're not going to get to hold up like a torch or anything, even if we wanted to. I already have one of those in the graveyard, so honestly at this point in the game it's better to probably draw that card, just because we might have to win by casting it. One of those weird turns that we go like Zombify into all that nonsense. They stock up to do what? Nothing. I'm gonna cast this. No more lies counter into my Zombify anyway, so. Hopefully, if they remove this, I do hit something nice. Unless it's an Ultima, then nothing happens. Except, I get to Zombify this back. Obviously, it's in our graveyard, but I do get to Zombify that back, and then I have the Visage to reanimate, right? So. Gonna combat here, I guess. You're 7. Cast a light shatter here. Double discard. Trying to find some extra lands here. Let's play a Surveillance. Sure. Because if this dies, obviously draw that card, right? Consult, sure. I have 4. I'll have 8 mana, so I do have a double Zombify turn. Especially if they do like a 3 steps ahead counter plus a draw 2, which is a thing that sometimes they feel like they can do. Because we can hold our land first, right? Unless, of course, they blow up my board, then I might just put it in regardless. But also, if I get to play the extra land and my Visage leaves, I just get to put an Ardyn into play, right? So here's a good solid turn for us to do it. I should probably just save my Zombifies, right? Now it's fine. Yeah, we just do this. Don't worry about my graveyard, bro. Don't worry about my graveyard, bro. Also, the reason we have to do this one is so we actually have a creature in our graveyard to bring back, by the way. Because now this will come back. Unless, of course, they get lost this, which is possible. For the combat? Oh, alright. Sweet. These ones? What would you like to remove here? Fortunate. That's how this kind of hand turned out. Decline. Interesting. Do this guy. Sure. Here. Sure. Now this is a good one because if they kill my legendaries, it actually kills them, right? They have so much mana though. Also, doing this here is more or less to stop most of that, but they get to pop this, I guess. Now that's exiled forever, right? So that's kind of whatever. Interesting. Combat. Letting this trigger is kind of mind-blowing to me. Would like to do my fear, but it takes too many things away. No, I have a creature, and yeah, it takes too many things away. But it is better than maybe Visage. If Visage gives me a card draw, so I guess I take it. I thought about zombifying it back, but I think the extra draw and stuff's just too good, and might as well attack out. Even if Light Shatter dies and stuff, we want those to be able to be brought back with Ardyn. And we have multiple copies, right? So it's like, why would we not? Sure. They obviously could have a counter spell, so I am gonna. Interesting. I actually don't want to do my Rakdos joins up, I think. I'm gonna bring out Fear here if I can. Because honestly, I might bring Rakdos joins back up. Because Rakdos joins up brings back the creature kind of for free, right? If this gets removed. Because it is just a leave the battlefield trigger. It's not like it dies. Really doing that now seems wild. I think they kick her, don't it? But Day of Judgment is definitely a card that's up their arsenal, which I don't think they can beat my hand if that's what they do. I think this Visage is going to cause a lot of problems. Man, my mouth is still recovering from yesterday. I had the salt and vinegar chips, and it just messed me up. All the sodium and stuff, it like dried out my mouth, and I couldn't do anything. It's an Ultima. Okay. I think we kind of have it covered regardless. Here. You think this card's obviously more important, right? Because now if my legendaries die, it does kill them. Graveyard, we do Fear because we get 2 combats with it and they die anyway. I would like to move to combat, sir, for 5. I would like to untap this. And I would like to get in another Ardyn trigger. I'll bring back your Biza. So we get there against Control. Weirdly having a good matchup against Control, which I would not expect in comparison to kind of what it normally feels like. Now, if I could just stop playing against Vivi, you know, we could maybe win a couple matches in a row. I keep cutting it because it ends up just being like, how long does my opponent take the combo? And then it's forever. So then I just cut it. But it is what it is. All right, so here we are. This is the deck from Rotation Reanimator. As you saw, we made a couple of changes. We added push-pull, which can help us beat Cauldron. I actually didn't even realize that kind of until the end of one of my matchups, where we can actually use the pool to target 2 different creatures. So if they exile one, for example, say we have an Ardyn and Ardyn, right? We can bring back both if they have a Cauldron and maybe are tapped out. But our main problem is this deck struggles against Vivi. For kind of obvious reasons, right? Because we can't necessarily beat the fact that our opponent can just exile our spell whenever we try to target it with any reanimate piece. However, I think one of the best upgrades we got for this deck is this Visage. And I got to play it twice against Control, because Control gets put in this really weird spot. If they have No More Lies, I 100% think they should be countering this card. I think not allowing me to get 2 spells off this one card, also drawing a card and then putting in something, as we saw in that last game where it put in like a Light Shatter or something, or extra lands. I think this card kind of has to be a counter on site if our opponent has it, which they didn't necessarily do. But if they're light on counter spells, I understand not doing it, because if we've already put something like a Valgavoth or an Ardyn in our graveyard, it's obviously scary to do that. But overall, this deck has felt pretty good. And honestly, it's the most fun deck I have playing right now. Our basics could also be split a little bit more evenly. It's because we have a lot of red early and kind of heavy spells here. I guess I didn't realize after my changes, I'm about 19-18 split. So because I had Fable Passages in here, you could probably just do this and be fine. Or honestly, based on how good these conduits were, I might just do this, just because oftentimes it's not guaranteed any of our spells resolve, right? And these conduits aren't necessarily that bad in multiples, because it's 1 pip, 1 pip, 1 pip, 1 1 1 none, 2 maybe 1, 2 pips but opposite, so that's typically fine, 2 pips at turn 4, 1 pip. Like, realistically, this should never punish you that bad. Obviously, if you're keeping hands with 3 of those in it, you can't be saved. But at the same time, you can add 1 colorless into it, make a color of any color. So it's not even that bad, really. But I think these are actually pretty solid in our deck and probably should have been playing them earlier, but I would split our mana like this actually now, considering we're here. This land, Restless Vents, good. I don't know if we need to rely on it necessarily or even play it. There might even be... there another, like, land that would be better here? Actually, not even, like, from there. What if we look at Edge Eternity lands? Are either of these good? 12, pay 2 life, sacrifice, draw a card equal. Sacrifice land creates 2/2 robot artifact creature token. Then creatures you control get 1/0 in haste. Not that great, I guess. Hopefully in one of these upcoming sets we get the other shock lands, so our meta base obviously gets a bit better. That'd be pretty cool, honestly, because then you can just extend these a lot, right? And then the verges are way more turned on. Is a weird way to say that. Honestly, this could probably just be a Fable Passage. It is good to be able to attack and discard with this, but I think with 8 Surveils, Fear, Light Shatter, and Bitter Triumph, probably shouldn't have to rely on this land ever, even though it is good against like control matchups. But I would almost rather have a Fountain Port in those matchups than this, and that doesn't even really make sense in this deck, right? So overall, it felt good. I think Carnosaur right now is technically the card I have as the weakest, even though it is very strong. Just out of my big stuff over here, right? Like out of all these. Because this deck has a weird build on the fact that you actually are okay with running smaller creatures because of how Ardyn works, right? Because Ardyn brings them back as a 5/5 no matter what they start out as, right? So 7/6, well, it's a 5/5 now. 1/1, well, it's a 5/5 now, right? So would this be better as like something else? Maybe. I don't think we can replace this Overlord because I think we saw in pretty much the first game how strong this card actually is, especially on the fact that like it doesn't get any bigger or smaller. It stays a 5/5 and gets to attack. So with Ardyn, this is probably one of the better closing cards where we just, you know, enter, hit a thing for 5, attack, or 4, hit another thing for 4, hit them for 5, and now they have to answer this thing that's a monster attacking for 5 and then shooting things for 4. Or it's kind of like a Fillage in Modern, right? Where it doesn't necessarily get, actually it does gain life because of Ardyn giving it lifelink, so the damage also gains life. So this is literally a Fillage in Modern, but technically not better, but when it comes in off an Ardyn, it is better because it shoots for 1 higher, which technically ends up netting 1 more life, I think. Because it's 5, Fillage is 6, but Fillage does 3 and 3, so 6. So it does an 18-point swing. No, a 12-point swing. This does 4, 4, and then 5, so it's actually a 13-point swing, which is pretty sweet. But 4 damage also more might be better in a lot of spots, but maybe not. But it feels like Fillage if you play Modern. That's kind of how that feels. So other than that, feels pretty good, honestly. I know I didn't necessarily go super positive, but I don't think I'm ever counting VV in my win-loss ratio just because that deck is 0 tier. Like, it is beyond good, at least in my opinion. Obviously, if you don't think it's that good, I think maybe play a couple best of 3 tournaments and then you might change your mind. Just that card, not even VV, but Agatha's Soul Cauldron also makes it kind of like an impossible match for us to win realistically, which is why I don't necessarily know if push-pull is the way to go, but I think it's like a fine option in general. But yeah, I mean, this is where we are. This is what I like to play, and I kept queuing games. Like, I kept wanting to play, so I think this deck does have my heart a little bit whenever it comes to like what decks I currently like playing the most. Like, I feel like I can play this deck all day in comparison to some other decks. But the split's a bit tough, obviously, if you want to see uncommon, thankfully enough. But 8 rare lands, realistically, you can probably just cut this if you want to. You can even play a Cavern in this spot, probably, if you wanted to, just to name some random things whenever it comes up. It's an Orc Wizard, not even a human? That's crazy. But yeah, this is a long outro already. Talked a lot about the deck. I don't really like doing super long outros because obviously it hurts like viewer retention time. But realistically, if somebody's watched the whole video, it's not going to hurt anything. But yeah, the craft guide, not that tough in comparison to like what we played yesterday where Kona was just all rares and like 1 common, it felt like. But yeah, this is it. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.